Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy here once again, Manny. Welcome back to DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL, NBA, and MLB. And of course, like always, guys, please drop a like on the video. We really truly appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed to the channel as of yet, right on the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you're going to see that subscribe button. Just click on that, subscribe now today. And also don't forget to turn on your notifications. This way you do not miss any of my uploads. Today is Saturday, Saturday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2018. We have a two-game slate in the Fanduel NBA GPP today. And, good matchups again today. All the playoffs have been pretty good. I mean, last night was a pretty ugly game for the Utah Jazz. Obviously, I've been rooting for the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell did not get going last night, and Houston was just everything was going right for Houston, and unfortunately, the Jazz are going to have to regroup, and hopefully they could bounce back and tie up that series. But today we got some interesting games. Boston is at Philly, and Toronto is at Cleveland. I'm going to give you a little bit of my insight on what I think about these games, as well as we're going to go over, the best possible plays and the best possible team stacks. At least in my opinion. So Boston, Philadelphia. All right, Boston, Philadelphia's favorite today. We have an implied total of them for 107.5. Boston 99. So Philadelphia is definitely favorite. They should be at home. They've been having the issues with Boston. So far statistically, Philadelphia actually has rebounds per game has dropped by 1. They were at 50 just a couple of games ago. They're down to 49 rebounds per game. Boston has actually gone down as well from 43 to 42. Turnover ratio, both teams have improved there. Philadelphia has gone from 16 turnovers a game to 15. Boston had 13 turnovers. They have now reduced that to 12 turnovers per game. Field goal percentage has been a little bit of a dip for Philadelphia. They went from 45% to 44%, and Boston has stayed steady at 44%, so they're both even there. Three-point shooting percentage, Philadelphia has gone down 2 percentage points. They went from 36% to 34% shooting from three-point range, and Boston has actually improved from 35% to 37%, and now they have the upper hand from the three-point zone. Total points, Philadelphia was averaging 114. They're down 4 points to 110, and Boston has actually increased from 102 to 104. As we go here, as always, I always have the cruncher here, guys. I share that with you. We're going to go over their lineups. We're going to go right over to point guard. We got Mr. Rozier, obviously, in the Philadelphia-Boston game, obviously Rozier is the best point guard in this matchup. I definitely like Rozier, like I said before. I did say it in the last their last game. Rozier is definitely the best play there. Rozier has been averaging 40 during these playoffs. Let's go over to the cruncher. He's been averaging 40 in these playoffs, but he's been really been lighting up in the last 3 games, especially in 2 games against Philly, 54 and 47. They really haven't had an answer for him. Obviously, we've discussed that he has had to take the role of, the man, so to speak, on the floor. He's got to be the MVP of this team right now. He actually has the best upside because he's just a slasher. He's quick. He's elusive. He's gritty. He's willing to do all the things. He defends. He actually plays great. He's a great facilitator. He passes the ball. He gets other guys involved, and on top of that, he also follows up on shots and he rebounds. And these are the things you need to do. You need to scratch and claw at this time of year, and you definitely need that from your point guards, from everybody on the floor, and not only your big men. I know the big men are there to get the rebounds, but it's nothing better than seeing a short guy, a point guard or a shooting guard get in there and get down and dirty and try to make these extend these plays a little longer for their teams. And he's done fantastic there, so definitely kudos to Rozier. I think he's the best play in this matchup, and I'm definitely all over him. I mean, his price I'm not worried about. I mean, it's obvious he can definitely get there. He's been doing that 47, almost 48, pretty much 48 here and 55 here in the 2 games against Philly. And then, of course, he played fairly well against Milwaukee. He actually had a great game ending that series with Milwaukee. But, he's getting the minutes, 38, 35, 36. He's getting plenty of shots, 15, 18, and 16 over the last 3 games. Look at the threes, 4 of 9, 7 of 9, and 5 of 8. And what I like here is, he's rebounding. Like I said before, and he's also passing the ball and getting other guys involved. And then he does all the other little things too that earns you those fantasy points. That's why we got those 47, almost 48 fantasy points here, because he's getting a steal, he's getting a block, and he's pretty much averaging that over the course of the whole playoffs, as you can see here. 1 and 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, nothing, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. I mean, so he's consistent in that area. So Rozier definitely playing very, very well. I mean, Boston is, you know, in a good position as far as their backcourt for the years to come if they keep Rozier and they can find a way to work with everybody else that they have, including Brown, Mr. Smart, and of course Kyrie when he comes back. So I mean, definitely got a nice 1-2 punch there with Kyrie and Terry Rozier. Boston is definitely in good hands. So I definitely like Rozier. I think if you can put him in your lineup, I am totally all for it. He will be on some of my lineups. He may be one of the key core guys in my lineup. I know he's more than likely going to be a little bit pricey as far as our ownership. I think I won't think he's going to be chalk, but I think he's going to be pretty much high. Definitely maybe 60% or more. You know, so yeah, he might be pretty chalky, but he's a fine play here, very fine play in this game. Because Philadelphia really doesn't have anybody that can handle him. So we go right to the shooting guard position. I like Mr. Rozier. We go over now to the shooting guard position. You know, my take on that. Mr. Smart doing well. Marcus Smart has been playing. You have Jaylen Brown back. I mean, Smart has done well in the 2 games here. You can see 29, 28, and about 36 in the last game. 39 minutes, 32. Usage rate is fantastic. Had 13 shots. He did take 10 big 3-pointers. Could hit 40% from there. He hit 4 of 10. Got to the free throw line as well. And you know, I like Mr. Smart. He plays defense, and he's willing to rebound. He's willing to pass the ball a little bit. And of course, he does all those little things too that get you those fantasy points, like block shots and steals. So definitely Marcus Smart at 63. You need 31, 32 from him. He's averaging pretty much. He got 35 in the last game. He is averaging overall, let me see, Smart 26. I got him 26 over the last 3 games. Over the course of the playoffs, actually, he has been averaging, in 5 games, in 5 playoff games, he's averaging 26 because he hasn't played on all of them. And so Marcus Smart, definitely not a bad play here. They're projecting him to have 30, which will be pretty much around value. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, I like Smart. I think he's in a good spot. He has played well here against Philadelphia, and you know, so I think he's a good play. J.J. Redick for Philadelphia is definitely a nice play too. I've liked J.J. J.J. has been averaging 28. I have him here having he's averaged 28 during the course of the playoffs, and he's actually been pretty steady over the last 4 games. 37, almost 38 here, 28, 27, then another 33. So he's good for 30 to 35. And he's only 5,800, guys. So 5,800, that's 25. You're looking at about about 28. You need 28 from him, and it's obviously he can get there. He has the upside to get up to about 38, even get 40. He's getting sufficient minutes, 36, 34, 32. Usage rate is fantastic, 9 of 17. He's getting plenty of shots. He's taking the threes. He's really much a part of this team's offense. They need him to shoot well, and they're going to need to get him the ball as well, especially if Simmons is going to continue to have a problem. You know, Ben Simmons had a terrible game last game, but I believe he's going to bounce back today. He's too good a player to really, I know he's young, but he's too good a player to have 2 or 3, you know, horrific games. He hasn't played that well. We'll get to him in a moment. But J.J. Redick, definitely a fine play here, 5,800. I like him more so than Smart because of the price. I mean, talking about a $500 difference here. That $500 could be utilized somewhere else. So if you ask me, I definitely would like to have a little bit more of J.J. Redick than I will have Smart. But Smart will be in some of my lineups, and who knows, they might be in the lineup together, Smart and Redick. You know, and Redick is projected to put a 27 up. So definitely, I like J.J. Redick there. Jaylen Brown is back from injury. You know, he put up 21. It was definitely under the value that they wanted him to be in the last game. He was at 6,400. His price went down considerably to today, so today he is cheap. So definitely a fine play here just on price on Jaylen Brown, especially if you know that he's capable of going off and getting you 35, 40. I mean, he has 50-point upside, Jaylen Brown. So definitely a good GPP play for today. If you wanted to get Jaylen Brown, I definitely would tell you that is too cheap for him. and he has so much upside that he would definitely be in some of my lineups. He may be in there with J.J. Redick or with even his own mate there, Mr. Smart. So definitely should get a little bit of Jaylen Brown here. He's not, obviously he hasn't played a whole lot. Jaylen Brown, let's see here what I got for him. In 7 games, he's averaged 31, but obviously he didn't play much in the last game against Milwaukee. He didn't play in game 1. But he played 25 minutes in the last game. His usage rate was, where you expect it to be, because he's one of the key guys, 26. He shot poorly, 5 of 12, probably about 38% there, close to 40, and then 2 of 5 from 3. Definitely needs to do a little bit more of everything else. We know he's capable of getting some steals, but you definitely need him to score. You definitely need him to pass the ball and get some rebounds. He has to do all those dirty things to definitely give himself the best chance to be on the floor and be on the floor for a long period of time. So definitely like Mr. Brown there as well. We go to small forward, Jason Tatum and Robert Covington in this game. All right, Tatum projected to put 32 up, and Mr. Covington is projected to put 32 as well. Now we look at the price. Tatum is $300 more at $6,800 on Fanduel. Robert Covington is at $65. All right, they're projecting him to have 32. And as you can see here, Tatum has been pretty steady over the last 4 games, 33, 36, 33, and 30. He's averaging in the playoffs, Tatum 32, and his price is 68, so you're looking at close to 35. Yes, you need about 35 from him. You figure 30, 34 from him, and he's pretty much in that range. And they're projecting to put 32 today. He has upside. We know that he can get up to the possible 45, 50 range. I don't know if he'll get there today, but anything is possible. But I think because of the minutes and his usage rate, and he's taking sufficient shots, and he has definitely all the potential. I mean, I think it's a fine play. Covington is a good defender. Probably one of the better defenders that Philadelphia has on the floor, but Tatum is just, he's so good, as well. A young, good rookie player who's really coming to his own right now. I don't have any. I wouldn't be at all biased to having either one of these guys in a lineup today. Obviously, they're going to be in one of my lineups unless I'm going to go with LeBron James, which we'll touch up on when we go over the Cleveland game. But in this particular game, if you want to pick somebody, I think you could go with either one of these guys, and I wouldn't even be at all opposed to anyone choosing to take both of these guys and put them as both of their small forwards. So that's an option as well, guys. All right. But definitely, he's doing fine at 32 average over the course of the playoffs. I mean, that's he's been consistent. That's the one thing. He's had, as you can see here, he had 2 dud games against Milwaukee, but against the last few games in Milwaukee and the 2 here so far with Philly, he's been fantastic. So definitely like Jason Tatum here. Robert Covington, he was looking terrible, and to be honest, I didn't have him any in my lineups. I didn't even have him in the lineup in the last game because I just lost a little bit of faith in Covington. I did play him quite a bit during the course of the regular season. In the playoffs, I have not played him because he was just definitely stone cold. But just like Kevin Love coming alive the other day for Cleveland, this may be the rejuvenation of Mr. Covington. But there may be some adjustments today on Covington. So who knows? But he definitely was stroking the ball well the other day. Took 15 shots, 8 of 15, 4 of 7 from 3. All right, got to the free throw line 1 time, hit both baskets. He got some rebounds, which is important. He didn't pass the ball well enough, but he got the other dirty things that you need to do. He stretched it out a little bit more. He got 2 steals and 2 blocks. So if he continues to do that and get his shots and nail 45% or better, and he'll be fine. He'll definitely put up a 40-45 spot. He's capable of putting 40 up any given night. So we'll see what happens here. At 6,500, you need 33, 34. As you can see, he definitely can get there. Price-wise, 300 less than Tatum. Yeah, I have like I said before, I would not be opposed at all if anybody went with Covington over Tatum. But then again, you can go Tatum, or you can pair them both. And I don't think you would be in a bad spot if you could definitely get value somewhere else. Or if this is work. Because if you don't take LeBron here, obviously, in these games today, obviously, those are the top 3 guys. Because I'm not on OG at all or CJ Miles. These guys have just not been effective enough against Cleveland, which we'll discuss in a moment. But Covington, Tatum, and James are your best bet at the small forward spot, and you need to take 2 of them. So it's either going to pay for James and then hope that you can get OG or CJ to do something for you, or you can take these 2 middle guys. So, I mean, you have an option that, you can go one of these guys and one of these guys, and then just pay up somewhere else. So those are going to be your options there. Let's go right to power forward in the same matchup. between Philadelphia and Boston, and we got here the big guys here. This is where Philly usually is more and more dominant. You got Sarge and Simmons. Obviously, we know Simmons had a horrible game. They definitely have the better matchup, Sarge and Simmons. Sarge should definitely do better against Morris. Morris didn't play bad at all in the last game. But Sarge has been, we're going to look at him around here at the cruncher, and we know we'll start with Ben Simmons, who's at the top. They're projecting him to put 45. His price is at 45, 47. You're looking at about 47. Yeah, probably about 45 for about 47 pretty much you need from Ben Simmons, and that's close to what they're projecting to have today, 45, 46 pretty much here. He has been not looking good the last 3 games. He definitely was horrible in the last game. 31 minutes, shot 4 shots, missed them all. I mean, he just, he played 31 minutes. He played 31 minutes, and he still wasn't as effective offensively in any category. I mean, he just didn't take any shots because his shots were terrible. And then he rebounded. He only got 5 rebounds. He did pass the ball quite a bit, 7. But he had those 5 big turnovers. He did have a block. I just don't know what happened. It was not his game. I do know that this kid is too good to be a player that could just put up 15 fantasy points and only put 1 point up in a game. I was shocked because I did have him in multiple lineups, and he definitely let me down. But you know what? I'm not mad at the kid. It's the playoffs. He's a young kid. This is all new experience for him. I would think that they went back, looked at some video. We'll make some adjustments and probably get him going early. You got to get him involved early. If you get involved with him early, you definitely will get the best out of Ben Simmons. So I expect him to have a bounce back game today, guys. I don't know if I'm going to want to pay 95 to see if he does that, but I believe he can. If I can get him in the lineup, I haven't decided that yet. I would consider him because he definitely has, almost 65. He can get 60, 65 plus on any given night. So he has definitely tremendous upside. So I would definitely consider Ben Simmons. One of the better plays today, and Simmons, just actually before I go any further, I didn't go over what Simmons has. Simmons has been averaging 43 in his playoffs, so that is not too bad at all, 43, but he definitely had that dud game. So we know he's capable. He's averaging 43 and they're projecting 45, and you need about 47 to get value. I mean, so he's pretty much there. The numbers are about right. And of course, like I said, he has that upside. So definitely he is in play today. I just don't know if he's going to be one of my major core players. Kevin Love. Kevin Love. That we're going with Bart with. Dario Saric is in the same game. Saric has been a little bit, I would say he's been quiet, but he's been putting up decent numbers. Saric is averaging, what we got here, 30. He's averaging 30 over the course of these playoffs. He put a 27 spot in the last game. He was at 6,300. His price range gone up $200. They're projecting him, of course, to get another 35, about 33, 34. And you know what? I mean, he's projected to put up 28, but we know he has 40 plus upside. So as long as he gets sufficient minutes and he gets those shots to fall. Obviously, in the last 2 games, the shots have been a little bit off. 4 of 13 here in the last game. If he can get that up to 45%, even 50%, he's going to be a much better play for anybody. And then when he gets cooking at 3-point range, he's pretty good there as well. You get 2 of 6 there. He did all the dirty stuff. This is what you want from him. You want him to go out there. He's a banger. He's willing to get down there in the paint and get busy. He got 9 rebounds. He had 3 assists. And surprisingly, he didn't get no blocks and no steals, but he's usually pretty decent with that as well. If you can get that, if you can get some of that from him in the 30-35 minute span, I mean, you'll be quite all right. But 33-34, man, that his price is just right. I think he's fair price. I think he's definitely capable of getting you that and then some. Marcus Morris. Yes, Marcus Morris. Let's look at Marcus. Marcus 25. Am I on Marcus? I don't know. I like him. I like his brother better, Markeith. 21, 17, and 18 in those previous games. 21 in the first game against Philly. He did have almost a 26 spot in the last game. He played 28 minutes respectively in both. 3 of 8, 2 of 3. Not a bad shooting game. I mean, we would like him to get a couple more shots. But with Jaylen Brown back, obviously the previous game he didn't have Jaylen Brown, so he obviously got more shots from that. But with Jaylen Brown back, I expect him to only get maybe around that range, anywhere between 8 or 9 shots. If he buries most of them, they may just continue to feed him. He's just going to need to just get down and dirty, stay in the paint, try to get those, try to extend the offense a little bit more, be able to get some more rebounds, offensive rebounds, and give the team more opportunities. He's going to need to do that. We know he can shoot the three, and we know that he's a fairly decent shooter from the floor. So at 4,800, I think that's a pretty good price for Marcus Morris. You need from him 20. You need about 23, 24 for him, and he's averaging. Let's see, Morris is averaging 21, so he's actually averaging less than what value is right now. But he definitely has upside. He can get you about 30 plus. So if you wanted to go that cheap, I think there's better plays at 4,800 or at that range. I'd rather pay up and get a Sarge or even a Kevin Love, which we'll discuss when we get to the Cleveland game. Because everybody else below here, I'm not too interested. Other than maybe Green is a good play and Mr. Ilyasova. So after Morris, we got Mr. Ilyasova. Ilyasova, he's been averaging in these playoffs. What we got for Ilyasova? Ilyasova is averaging 24 points in the series, 16 and 21 minutes in the two games. Not a whole lot of minutes, but this was very efficient minutes here. 21 minutes in the first game. His usage rate was 24%. He shot 2 of 9. Didn't hit a 3. But he gets the rebounds. He's willing to extend plays. He's willing to go all out a little bit. He definitely had a steal. But he needs to hit baskets. If he hits baskets, it's like with anything, with any team. Ilyasova is one of those guys, just like Philadelphia as well with Bellinelli. If you pass him the ball, and he starts getting those shots off, I mean, you're gonna find yourself that you're gonna get in the flow of things, and then they're gonna feed you more, But if he's not hitting those shots early, they're gonna go somewhere else, and they're gonna go with the hot man, So Ilyasova is definitely in play at 4,400. I think he is cheap for what he can give you. He has definitely 40 point upside. I think he's definitely good for 30, 35. And at that price, I mean, you only need to get about 20, 21, 22 from him, and he's averaging 24. So, I mean, I think he's fairly priced, and I think he's definitely a good value play here. What else we have here? Ilyasova, Marcus Morris. All right, let me go to center. Yeah, I think I did skip. The only one I did skip here was Bellinelli. Sorry about that. Marco Bellinelli is not a bad play. He's 4,000. You need 20 from him. Bellinelli has been averaging 23, so he's averaging more than value at the moment throughout the playoffs. Let me just go back to him for one moment. I apologize that I skipped Marco, man. Sorry, Marco. He has definitely looked pretty bad over the last 4 games, including the first 2 games against Boston. But again, like I said before, this guy needs to get shots, and he has to hit some shots, and get in rhythm. He definitely was doing that in this game here, where he had 5 of 11, but he didn't shoot well from 3, and that's an area that definitely need him to shoot well from. 28, almost a 29% usage rate is pretty darn good in 20 minutes. But again, we look for 1 point a minute if you can, especially on a value play, at least for me. That's the way I like to look at it. He only got 11 points, and he only put up 14 fantasy points, and that's the reason why, because he just didn't do anything else. There was no major steals or block shots. He didn't assist the ball well, and he didn't rebound. So that's one area with Marco is just basically you're looking for him to shoot the threes or shoot from the paint somewhere. And when he's hot, you feed him the ball, he's going to continue to shoot. But out of all the ones we discussed here, obviously J.J. Redick for Philadelphia is the best play. We go to center. Centers here are probably the best here than they are in the Toronto-Cleveland game, because in the Toronto-Cleveland game, even though Tristan Thompson has played well, he didn't play a whole lot in the last game. And in Toronto, Valanciunas is definitely the better player over there. So you got Valanciunas, you got Horford, Baines, and you got Embiid. When you come here to Philadelphia and Boston, I definitely like Joel Embiid. Embiid has been averaging 46 during the course of these playoffs. He had a pretty much 54 spot in Game 1 and a 48 in Game 2. And you know what? He didn't shoot the ball well in any one of these 2 games. Now imagine if this guy puts them more down. So he has tremendous upside. They want 10,000. You need 50 on the nose from him, and we know that he's capable of doing that. I still love Joel Embiid here. I think as the big man, I like Joel Embiid, and I love Valanciunas. Those are the 2 guys I'm on. Horford is a good cash play. He's not a GPP play to me, but I call him consistent Al. Al Horford is very consistent. I think he's a fine ball player, but he's not going to do what Joel can do, get these kind of shots, get these kind of rebounds. He passes the ball. He does a lot of things well. He shoots the three well, where Horford definitely is a good shooter. He's not that dominant in the paint. So Joel Embiid, better post-up moves, more dangerous in the paint, obviously a little bit bigger, a little bit more wider. I will go with Joel, definitely. So if you ask me, definitely pencil in Joel Embiid as your center. If you're not going to go there, then Al Horford is not a bad play. He is 2,500, 2,500 less than Joel Embiid, but he's only going to get you 34, and that's pretty much around his range. Horford is averaging 37 in the playoffs, and they're projecting him to put 35 today, so they're pretty much projecting him just right, and his price is just right too. It's about 36, 37 you need for the 7,500, and he's going to get you that. He is consistent. I haven't seen this guy have really games where he's put less than 30 fantasy points for his price. So he's Mr. Consistent. You want a consistent play there? Definitely. You want to play him in a cash game? Definitely. He's your guy, Al Horford. But I am here, definitely. I'll be willing to pay up for Embiid and hope that he has a monster game and puts up 60 plus, which he's capable of. All right. And that's pretty much it for this game between Philadelphia and Boston. Some key guys I'm looking at. There are some guys in some good spots. Jaylen Brown is in a good spot here for Boston. Philadelphia has given up 7 big games to shooting guards during the course of the season, but we need Jaylen Brown to not only play more than 25 minutes, he's going to need to play 30 or more. He needs to be healthy, and he didn't look too good in the last game, even though he put up decent numbers. There were some times that he looked like he was still kind of bothered by his injury, at least in my eyes. Definitely a concern there, but if he is 100% healthy, we know he has that definite upside, and he is mad cheap today, guys. Mad cheap. So definitely a fine play in Jaylen Brown. I think he's a good spot for anybody who's looking for someone in the Boston team. Terry Rozier is definitely the next guy. 7 big games by 2-point guards this year by Philadelphia, and he hasn't had a problem at all. He's been relentless, and he's been too quick for the backcourt of Philadelphia. He's going to still put up his 40 plus, 45 plus easy today. I love Terry Rozier here, so I definitely think you should pencil him in this particular game, or at least have him in your lineup, in some of your lineups. When you look at the Boston stackings, obviously Rozier with Tatum, just like they gave you in the last previous game that they played. Rozier, Tatum would be a nice tandem. Rozier 40-point average so far during the playoffs, and he's actually averaging 52 in this series, and Tatum 32. So you take that 52 average as opposed to the 40, and you got yourself 73, 74 fantasy points between these two guys. So that's not a bad tandem there. Rozier and Horford would be another nice play. Horford steady at 37 average throughout the playoffs. Rozier 40 points during the course of the playoffs. But again, like I said, 52 in this series in 2 games. And then if you want to do a triple play here, definitely Rozier, Tatum with Horford would be not a bad play. Or you can just go with Rozier, Brown, and Tatum. So you wanted something like that. Nothing wrong with Smart averaging 26 in 5 games, or with Brown, or with Morris. I am not too highly on Morris, but he could be a definitely nice fine play there. And Mr. Baines at 16 average, he's been consistent too, getting his minutes, and he's been out there doing all the dirty work, but not enough. I think there's value in just going with Valanciunas, or just paying up for Embiid, or even playing Al Horford there. And pay up there as opposed to having Mr. Baines. But if you want to get a couple more studs in there, then maybe Mr. Baines is not a bad play at 3,700. He's definitely cheap, and we know that he's going to get some minutes. All right, let's go to Game 2, Toronto at Cleveland. Toronto at Cleveland, we got Cleveland at home. Game 3, Toronto is pretty much done, man, to me. I mean, Cleveland's implied total is 110.3. We got Toronto at 105.8. So Cleveland is favored by 4.5. Cleveland's rebounding is increased. They have 39 rebounds a game from 38. Toronto as a team is up also on rebounds from 40 to 41. Turnover ratio, both teams have improved pretty darn well there. Cleveland was averaging 14. Now they have 12 turnovers a game. Toronto has gone from 14 to 13, so they both have improved in that category. Field goal percentage per teams, Cleveland has actually increased and has done better, 2% better in shooting from the floor, from 43.4 to 45.4. Toronto is still at 47%. 3-point percentage shooting, Cleveland is up 2 points from 32% to 34%, and Toronto has actually gone down 2 points from 41 to 39. Cleveland has improved in total points to 100 per game, while Toronto has kept steady at 109 on the nose. So that's pretty much where we stand there. Let's go over the positions here. We got Kyle Lowry and George Hill. We go back to the cruncher. Kyle Lowry, definitely a fine play. What can I say about Toronto, man? To be totally honest with you, with Toronto, they're in a bad spot here. And this is my take on the Toronto Cleveland series. It's obvious Cleveland is going to pull the series out. They're up 2-0. I don't see them losing 4 in a row. I don't see them losing 4 out of the next 5. Toronto is, it's just for whatever reason, if you watch sports long enough, there's certain teams that just can't get over the hump with certain teams. They've had their issues with LeBron James pretty much every time they face them in the playoffs, and they're having it again now. Not that Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are not getting the job done. Those guys are playing fairly well, but they're not extending themselves, I think, enough, in my opinion, as far as doing more for the team. Kyle Lowry, if you look here at the numbers, he's been doing fairly well. 7 of 10, but he needs to take more shots. 3 of 6 from 3, take some more shots. And it'll be great if you go out there and rebound a little bit more. Get 5, get 6, get 7. Go out there and get 8 rebounds. All right? 8 assists is fantastic. It's fine for Kyle Lowry. But if he could just go a little bit more, extend himself, get a few more shots. What it comes down with Toronto in this series, their backcourt guys, all their guards are way better than the at least in my opinion. They are more consistent. Let's put it that way. Maybe not better, but more consistent players as a group between Kyle Lowry, DeRozan, Van Fleet, and Wright. Those 4 guys as a tandem are pretty much the bulk of the offense of how well Toronto plays or has played in the playoffs thus far this year, from my eyes, from what I've seen. They're big guys who Cleveland has trouble with. Big guys. They haven't had no trouble with these guys. So these guys are not getting it done. Sakiam and Ibaka have been horrific. OG and CJ Miles is not enough. Those guys are not getting it done. They're not getting it done. The guys that are getting it done for Toronto are the backcourt guys. So these 4 guys are going to have to extend themselves a little more. So hopefully Coach Casey realizes, hey, my advantage is with my backcourt. Let me get these guys more up. The small forward and a power forward position, they're not getting it done. Look at the stats and you can see it. This is the reason why Indiana extended Cleveland all the way to the brink of elimination. Indiana has a good balanced overall team. Their front court guys are fairly good. Their center is not better than Valanciunas. Valanciunas is their best big guy, is their best man up front. And he's shown it hands down. We'll go over that in a moment. You're going to see. Cleveland doesn't have an answer for him. But, they're not getting enough. They got to get more from Ibaka. Ibaka is not a banger. Ibaka is more of a shooter, rhythm shooter too. You don't see him down in the trenches often enough getting rebounds. And he's never been that kind of a player. So Ibaka has to get more involved. He's going to have to realize, I got to get out there and extend myself. If he can extend himself and the backcourt can do the same, which a few of the guys have. But anyway, instead of me yapping along, I just wanted to give you that input on that. So this is what it comes down to the scenario in this series. Kyle Lowry, DeRozan, Wright, and Van Fleet are going to have to get even more busier than they have been. And somehow, some way, Coach Casey and these guys are going to have to motivate Ibaka, CJ Miles, OG to definitely play better. They definitely need to produce. They need to get some easier baskets because, as you can see with Indiana, their front court was dominating the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sabonis, good post-up positioning, and of course Thaddeus Young being a little more athletic than Sabonis. These guys were definitely giving Cleveland trouble. And if you look back at those games, they definitely worked. Their front court was definitely dominating more. They had Kevin Love pretty much non-existent. And even then, it had to go on the shoulders of LeBron James, who carried that team past Indiana. So Indiana definitely took a lot out of Cleveland, and it also showed some weaknesses for Cleveland. We know that Cleveland's had issues with small forwards and power forwards all year long, and centers, and for whatever reason, they still got it done with Indiana. So, again, you got to give it to LeBron. He's getting the job done. So Kyle Lowry's definitely in play, 33, 35. He's priced at 82. He was at 82 in the previous game. You need to get 40, 41 from him. He's capable of getting there. It's really, really close to his average. He's averaging 38 throughout the playoffs. He's kind of steady in that range. So you could see him getting, maybe he could get 40, 41. You know, he has the upside. You know, there's no doubt about it. He can get 50. You know, Cal. It's just not a consistent 50. You know, but I mean, I see him can get 40 here. I think he can, and I think he's going to need to. It's entirely up to you here. If I'm going to have a choice from Rozier and Lowry, I definitely like Rozier's play. It's just a little more explosive. He knows he has to carry the team a little bit. Kyle Lowry is going to have to put that same mindset today, as well as DeRozan, if they're going to get, you know, get a game. He's going to get a win here. They're going to have to do that. So for me, I like Rozier better than Lowry, but Lowry's definitely in play. Then you look at Cleveland, you got George Hill. George Hill is averaging, what is Hill averaging? He's 16 points in the games that he has played. He hasn't played in many games in the playoffs. But he's averaging 16. He did have a 19 in the last game, pretty much a 20. He played 35 minutes. I mean, if they can get that kind of play out of him again, if he can take a little bit more shots and get more on the foul line, it would be great. 4,200, you need 21. At least, you need at least 21 from him. He's averaging 19. I mean, he's averaging 16. And he put up almost 20 in the last game. He did have a 25 spot 2 games before that against Indiana in the final game of that series. So, I mean, yeah, he's capable of it. I think at that price range, I think I could get someone else. I would prefer the guys we're going to discuss next in Delon Wright and Fred VanVleet. They actually are cheaper. I kind of like those guys more. We go over to Wright right now. Wright 13, 9, 25, 32, 30. So he's had 2 poor games against Cleveland. 24 and 16 minutes. Definitely need to give him a little bit more time. But obviously in the last 2 games is also because VanVleet is starting to play. And we know that VanVleet is usually the first guy off relieving Kyle Lowry, or comes in and plays with Kyle Lowry in the backcourt. So when DeRozan is not there, or vice versa. So that's the reasons why his minutes were a little bit down. But I mean, they know that these guys, they need them. They're the ones who trigger their extended offense that they need. 2 of 4, not a whole lot of shots, 1 of 2. Definitely wasn't involved in the offense in the last game, but I'm sure I like him. When VanVleet is not on the court and he's on the court, I definitely like him more. If they're both on the court, I like VanVleet more because they'll definitely go to him more. As you can see, he took 10 shots and 7 in 2 games that he came back. So VanVleet at 20 and 15 and only at 3,800 price range, you only need, like, you know, 18 from him. You know, I mean, he's in a perfect spot. I really love Fred VanVleet here and pairing him up with Rozier in the backcourt for this slate. I think he's definitely a great play. And VanVleet, in the limited time that he's played, he is averaging 17, but that's only in 3 games only in the playoffs. So he's going to just get cooking. He's going to step it up. He's a risk taker. He's a guy that, you know, gets in the flow of the offense and he gets hot. He can really light it up. He's got 30-point upside. So if they stretch him out to 25, 30 minutes, on top of that, especially if Lowry is not performing as well, you can see VanVleet taking a lot more of the offensive shots. I like VanVleet. I think he's a definitely good play. You can also even pair him up with Lowry because he gets sufficient minutes. And then I would say Delon Wright would be another nice play. But VanVleet, $300 cheaper. Definitely think he's going to get more shots and going to get more time on the floor if he's healthy. So I like Fred VanVleet a little bit more. Shooting guard in this game, you got DeMar DeRozan. Like I said before, he's got to extend himself. They're projecting him to have 36, 27 and 47 in this series. He's averaging in the playoffs, DeRozan 39, so it's just 1 more point better than Kyle Lowry. So they're kind of consistent, 38, 39, probably 40. That's their range. They're not, you know, they get these big games once in a while. So you can see he put up a 48 spot here in game 1. They're going to need him to do that again today. They need him to extend himself, take 20 shots, and hopefully bury a little bit more. He took 23 and 20 in these 2 games. That's 43 shots from the floor. Only has hit 11 and 10, a total of 21. That's definitely slightly under 45%. He hasn't hit no threes, and that was one of his key shots that he has improved on this year. That during the course of the year propelled him and propelled Toronto to be where they are right now. And those shots are not falling for him in the series, and they didn't fall for him in the game against Washington in the last game. That's one of the reasons why he threw up another dud. So if he can hit a shot, and he can hit a few threes, and he can do some other things like extend himself. He's not a big rebounder. Get out there and rebound. Come on, DeMar. Extend this series, man. I want to play some more fantasy basketball. The only way that's going to happen is if Toronto wins a game here. and extends this to a 5-game series. You know, I mean, you got to win a game. So hopefully they'll do that today. He has to extend himself and go the extra mile. Rebound, block shots, steals, play aggressive defense, and then of course go out there and hit your shots when you have those shots available to you. So DeMar DeRozan's going to need that done. Like I said before, Toronto's key is those 4 guys in the backcourt that come in and play the backcourt. Their backcourt is a little more explosive, a little bit more better than Cleveland's. And their frontcourt guys like OG, CJ Miles, and Ibaka, and Sakian, they gotta get, I don't know. They gotta get it going, man. They've been very pitiful. We move on here. We have next J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver. Obviously, these guys are in play. Actually, out of the backcourt guys, for Cleveland, these guys have come through in the last few games. J.R. 21 points pretty much in the last game, 31 before that one. I had him in that game. He came up big for me. 36 and 35 minutes. JR is averaging 19 in the playoffs and 26 in this series. In these 2 games, that's 26 average. So he is doing well in this particular series, and overall 19 during the course of the playoffs. So he's good for 20. You got here 20. He needs to get 20, 24, 23, 24 there for that price. 5 of 8, 2 of 3 from 3. Obviously, we need him to hit his threes when he's open. Definitely like to see a little bit more here. That's why, sometimes he just doesn't do enough. Not enough assists. He's just a shooter. He looks for the open shot from 3-point range. But if he can just, rebound a little bit more, get a couple more assists, he's definitely a fine play. As long as he gets shots and he's got minutes on the floor, like I would say before with JR or anybody for that matter, if you got minutes, you have a shot. And especially with JR, who's streaky, if he gets hot, then you definitely want to keep feeding him. So I like JR here today. I think he's a fine play. Kyle Korver is definitely another fine play. He's only $100 cheaper. 16 and 22. He had these ugly games against Indiana towards the end. But let's see where he's at. He's averaging 18 during the playoffs and 20 in this series in the 2 games. So him and JR are a good tandem right now in this series. I'm not going to look back to the other series, but overall his numbers have been 18 throughout the playoffs and 20 in these 2 games. So he definitely has improved there by 2 points. And him, get back to him here again, that if he gets those threes going, he could be dangerous. He took only 2 shots. He took only 5 shots in the last game, which is really shocking. But he got 2 steals, so he made up something there, and that's good for us with fantasy points because he only really put up 5 points total. So, but previous game, 7 of 17, 5 of 12, that is humongous. If he can shoot like that and get those kind of shots. Again, he's also streaky. If he gets hot, he gets his body square, he can definitely, light up the scoreboard. So, definitely a dangerous guy to have. All right, move on. Small forward in this game. LeBron James, obviously, he's been just dynamite. Obviously, if you want to go with LeBron, I do not hate you at all. He will be on 1 or 2 of my lineups, like always. He definitely comes through. LeBron James has been just phenomenal. He's averaging 72 in these 2 games against these guys. So it's obvious that he could have his way with Toronto at any point. And he's averaging 64. Yes, that's right, 64 fantasy points during the course of this whole playoff run. The 7 games with Indiana and the 2 games. And in 9 games, he's averaging 64. That is that is outrageous. 64 fantasy points. This guy is truly the man, and he's definitely showing that. 19 of 28 shots, took 30 shots in game 1, hit 12. That was an off night for him. An off night, 1 of 8 from 3, but he does all the other things that you need to see, guys. This is what it's all about. 11 defensive rebounds, 11 total rebounds, 13 assists. He had a triple-double. Over here, he was near triple-double in the last game. He shot 19 of 28, 1 of 3 from 3. Got to the foul line, definitely struggled there, only 50% there, which is a no-no. He got 8 total rebounds, 14 assists, and man, the guy never gets into foul trouble. Come on. Come on now. He's up to 14,000 right now. They don't even know what price to put on this guy. 14,000, you get a couple of value plays there, man. Throw in LeBron James, guys. Because he could light it up at any point. He could give you freaking, 80, 85. He can go as far as he wants to go. I really, truly believe that. The way he's playing right now, he's just in beast mode. It's like, everybody get out of my way. I'm just going to light up the scoreboard when I need to. You know, and even when he's off, he still give you 45, 50, which is pretty nice, even though if you pay up for him. So if you're willing to pay up for him, hey, fine. You know, you don't want to pay up for him, he just passing by. Go with someone else. You got a couple of guys there in Tatum and Covington. But when you go back to this series, he is definitely hands-on, the best small forward on the floor. OG hasn't had no answer for him, and CJ Miles, you know, he's just a shooter. He's not a defender. You know, so 3,500, you want to go that low, you can't. I'm not going to bother. OG is averaging 14 and Miles 14 in this playoffs. Plain and simple. I already did the numbers. They're averaging 14 apiece. These guys are not getting it done, and this is the reason why Cleveland has this 2-0 lead. Their 3s and 4s are not enough to compete with these guys. As opposed to Indiana gave them a run for their money, and that's the difference. The big men are important. And these guys don't have the guys to measure up against LeBron and obviously Kevin Love, who had a very good game. Now we go to power forward in this matchup here. We have Love, Ibaka, Green, and Sakum, or whatever, Sakum, whatever his name is. Love 52. You know what? I didn't have him in this game. I kind of lost faith in him because he's just been so off for so long. I mean, but Kevin Love, I think we saw a Kevin Love sighting. The Kevin Love of old came through for Cleveland in Game 2, and he looked marvelous. 35 minutes and 34 in the 2 games. That 35 minutes, look at that usage rate. 35%. 11 of 21 and 2 of 6, and he was off on 3. He only shot like 35% or 40% here. Come on. If he hits a few of these, he's going to keep shooting the ball. He got to the foul line, didn't miss a shot. And then he did what Kevin Love does. He gets rebounds at least. Alright? Didn't get a whole lot of offensive rebounds in this game. He only got 1, but he got 11 total rebounds, 2 assists. He had 1 steal, 1 block. He was really into it. He gets been in foul trouble in these last 3 or 4 playoff games. He has to clean that up a little bit, so this way he can just be on the floor longer. But they're going to need Kevin Love, man. It's obvious if Kevin Love is on fire and LeBron James is on fire, those 2 guys can propel these guys, and then if they can just get J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver to shoot at 35 to 40% or better from their 3-point shot, they're going to win games, plain and simple. You know, and Toronto don't have nothing for them up front other than Valanciunas. So, I mean, this is a simple play here. Kevin Love, 7,500. You need 35, 37. You need about 37, 38 from him. And we know he is capable of doing that. He is capable of doing that, guys. He has 50-plus potential. You know, he has that upside. Definitely a good GPP play simply because of the way he's been playing. He's been so horrible, and all of a sudden he came through and went bonkers, went bananas the other day, and put up 52. So we know he can do 50 or better. I will definitely have a little bit of Kevin Love in this slate today. All right. Then we move on to Ibaka and Green. Ibaka, man, I am not on Ibaka. I'm going to show real quickly. Ibaka has been horrific, and Ibaka, as you can see here, just not enough. There's no rebounding from him. There's no assist. This guy looks for an open shot. They give it to him. They shoot it. If he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, he's not. When he put up this 49 here, look, 8 of 11. 3 or 4. That's the reason why. And look what happened. He rebounded. What happened to the rebounding? If you're not going to rebound, Ibaka, you're not going to give your team a chance. At 4,500, good GPP play because he has 45 or better upside. So if you want to take a shot at him, why not? At 4,500, then he's a steal. But he's just not performing. He's not in this 2 games. He's just has 8 total rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, he's been horrific. He hit no shots the other day, so obviously they didn't even give him no more shots. And then 3 of 8 in the first game. I just lost faith in these guys. I am not on Ibaka. I'd rather pay to get my 2 4s, my 2 power forwards. I'd rather get them from the Philadelphia-Boston game. I'd rather go and get Saric and Ilyasova or squeeze in Simmons. And if I'm going to go with anybody in this particular game, it's going to be Kevin Love. I do not want no part of Ibaka. And no part of Mr. Siakam. Now I'm saying it right. Siakam. But before we get to Siakam, Jeff Green is definitely a nice play. 4,000 for Jeff Green. Jeff Green is averaging 27 in these 2 games in this series and 17 in the playoffs, but he's been really, really hot right here, right now, and they're utilizing him, and he is making things happen. 20 minutes in the last game, 21, almost 22% usage rate. Got 8 shots from the floor, was 5 of 8, 4 of 6 from 3-point range. All right, and as long as he hits those shots like this at 45% or better, in which this case he did, pretty much 60% here and pretty much 70% there, you can't go wrong. I would take Jeff Green. He takes good, clean shots, and when he has time to square up and shoot it, he's another one. If he's on, he's on. So I like a little Jeff Green here for 4,000. You only need 20 from him, and he's averaging 20. Like I say, he's averaging in this series 27. Hey, I like my odds there. I'll take him as a GPP play. Jeff Green definitely in the radar, guys. Definitely in the radar. Siakam, not interested. I'm not going to even bother. He's averaging Siakam, averaging 10. He's averaging 10 in these playoffs. I'm not going to even bother, guys. Please do not. Don't do it to yourself. And if you want to, it's fine. You know, it's just my opinion. But if I'm going to go with a low play there at the end, I'll let you know which are probably the best value plays in my eyes. We move on. We go to center in this series. Is obviously, man, you got Thompson, Valanciunas. You definitely can go with either one of those guys. And we'll go here to the cruncher. I definitely love Jonas Valanciunas. Look at these numbers: 35, 49, 36, 41. Valanciunas is averaging 34 in these playoffs, and he's averaging 43 in this series. 43 in these 2 games. That's his average. I want a whole lot of Valanciunas for 7,100. You got to get 35, 36, and he's crushing that already in this series. And he's done that in the 4 games easily. Valanciunas, a definitely good play here. Cleveland does not have an answer for him. Cleveland is doing the right thing. They're not allowing OG and Ibaka to get any in rhythm, and that's been the difference. That's been the difference here. Those guys are not producing enough for Toronto. Their backcourt is the best part of Toronto, and Cleveland's weakness is actually becoming their strength, which is really amazing. But that's how you make adjustments. So that's the bottom line. Those guys up front can get a little busier, and Toronto's players, like I said, the backcourt, they're going to have to extend themselves a little bit more. Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Double D, you got to get it going. You're going to have to rebound, get a little dirty. You want to scrap up and claw here. You want to scratch and claw, and give yourself a chance and get yourself back in the series. It's going to have to be that you guys take the team upon your shoulders and say, we're going to go and try to be very aggressive and trying to get our shot, and hopefully they go down, and when you're being well defended, kick it back out to Mr. Wright or to Mr. Van Fleet and let these guys bury 3-pointers and shots and put yourself in a position to get a chance to win. And then you got your big man Valanciunas up front when you want to get those little easy plays, or have him put the putbacks and get the rebounds, because you know he gets it done. Valanciunas is definitely a very good play here, guys. Definitely have him in your lineups if you can. Tristan Thompson, not a bad play if you want to save. He's 4,000. He did have that nice big game in Game 1. Definitely was not pretty much in the rotation in Game 2. And they didn't need him to. Obvious, I guess that's the reason why. They had a big lead, and I guess they figured they were doing fine with Kevin Love being the center. As you know, Kevin Love has started in this series at center, even though he's a power forward. So, again, he's not going to get a whole lot of time, especially, and that's one of the reasons why he didn't get a whole lot of time, is because Kevin Love was Kevin Love. He was dropping dimes. He was doing his thing. So as long as Kevin Love is playing that well, Tristan Thompson is going to see very minimal time on the floor. So at 4,000, I won't take the risk on Tristan. But hey, this is why we play the games. You never know. Kevin Love might be out of sync today, and boom, there comes Tristan coming in, spelling relief, and he may have a big game. And he's going to be excited every time he gets a chance to be on the floor, because he hasn't been able to play much. So TT is in play if you want to go with a bargain play there at 4,000. All right. I would say, but the play here is definitely Valanciunas for me, or MB. I'd rather pay up and get the big guy who can get me 60 plus, and he only has to get me 50, but he has 60, 70 point upside, and that's pretty much it. So as far as this game, as far as in this particular game, Toronto Cleveland, you wanna stack some guys. When you think of Toronto, definitely you got to go with Lowry and DeRozan. They're consistent, 38 to 39 apiece throughout the playoffs. They will have to go 40 plus each for it to be even a better play. If you want to do a triple play with anybody in Toronto, it's got to be those 2 guys with Valanciunas. And value plays there for Toronto, obviously Van Fleet. all right. I'm in favor of Van Fleet, 3,800. I mean, I think he's definitely pretty cheap there. I am not at all opposed to Ibaka, OG, or Siakam. I just am not. I have no preference. I have no interest whatsoever in those three guys. They're just not getting it done. So I would think that that's the best advice I can give you guys. Get your power forward, get your fours and possible threes from somewhere else. Focus on the Boston Philadelphia game. There's a couple of good guys over there. That's the way I look at it. All right, so definitely those are the guys there, and that's pretty much it for Toronto. As far as stacking Cleveland, I don't like a lot of stacks for Cleveland. The only stack I really truly like is James with Love, and as long as Love is shooting the ball and shooting the rock well and he's dropping those dimes, definitely Kevin Love with the LeBron James. Good team stack right there. I am not in favor of any triple plays, like I said before with Cleveland, but if you wanted to go a triple play there, it would have to be James, Love, and I would say George Hill, if he's playing sufficient minutes, or maybe James, Love, and J.R. Smith. But I still just like James and Love, in my opinion. All right? And that's pretty much it, guys. That is pretty much it. So, I mean, value plays for Cleveland, just the best value play for Cleveland is definitely hands down Jeff Green, averaging 27 in this series. I have a nice big star next to him. I really like Jeff Green, and and like I said, man, and then with Toronto is Van Fleet. And when I go back to just the recap, like I did before yesterday, best play here in this game at point guard is definitely Terry Rozier. Obviously, when you go to shooting guard, I like JJ Redick. Not too many value plays. There's no value play there. I mean, Jaylen Brown obviously still nursing a hamstring. It says here game time decision. If Jaylen Brown plays, obviously he's a good play at 5,200. I would take a little stab at him. Marcus Morris is definitely a good play as well. Small forward Jason Tatum and Covington, obviously the best two plays there. If I had a preference, I probably would go with Tatum, even though Covington had a great game the other day. This may be a breakout. That might have been a breakout game for Covington. Maybe now he got his confidence back, and he's got kind of his swag and his mojo back. So if he does, I think he's definitely in play. Power forward, we're hoping that Ben Simmons comes back. I don't think this kid can go this far looking this bad. But you never know. This is what we play. This is the playoffs. It can get a little bit, tough for some young kids, as far as the pressure is concerned. So Ben Simmons has definitely got a lot of pressure, just like Donovan Mitchell had last night. Didn't perform as well. But I think both of these guys, Mitchell as well as Simmons today, I think they have the potential to bounce back. They're just too talented. So definitely he's in play. He's pricey considering the game he put out in the last game. Dario Saric, definitely a little sneaky play there, 6,500. He is about value. He should definitely be around value. If you wanted to pay down, a good play here would be Ilyasova at 4,400, or even a Marcus Morris. So definitely those guys in play. And when we come to center in this game, love Embiid. Horford is a great safe play. We know he's consistent. Again, steady Al. He is steady all the time. He averages 37, 38 pretty much on a regular basis all year long. So you could expect that from him. He's definitely a great cash play. Toronto, Cleveland at point guard again. Like Lowry, he definitely is gonna, like I said, he's got to extend himself a little bit more if he wants to give Toronto, the Raptors, a chance to stay in the series a little longer. George Hill is not a bad play at 4,200, but I prefer on the cheaper end here. I love the Toronto backcourt backup guys. Van Fleet definitely 3,800. I'm definitely much interested in him. Shooting guard, DeRozan, like I said, he's got to be himself, and he's going to have to extend himself, do a little bit more for the team. I think their backcourt, their shooting guards, their guards in general, all have to come up big for Toronto because their threes and fours are not getting it done. J.R. Smith and Carver, any one of those two is fine. I would think, for me, I have no problem with those. I would probably prefer Smith. LeBron James, definitely hands-on, is an awesome play. I am not on any of these guys, like I said before. I just have no interest over here. Definitely in the power forward position in this game. Definitely love Kevin Love. And Jeff Green is definitely a great value play. Not too much on Larry Nance Jr. And, of course, the Toronto guys are out of the question. And when it comes to center, best play here is Valanciunas, hands down. Him, DeRozan, and Lowry got to be the key three guys today for Toronto. And then, of course, they need those role players like Van Fleet and Wright to come in there and produce as well. If they could do that, and then let's say, hopefully, OG and some of these guys, Ibaka, get involved and get a little more dirty and extend themselves, maybe, who knows, they might be able to get something out of their threes and fours, but I'm not paying to see that, or paying to see if that's going to happen, because I just have no faith in them right now. And that's pretty much it, guys, man. So, again, enjoy the slate. I hope you like the video. If you do, please smash a like on it. I appreciate it. And you want to comment down anything down below, you question anything, you want to ask me a question, you want to talk about anything regarding the games or any of the players, hey, I'm more than happy to go back and forth and talk. I am here and available for that. Other than that, man, I mean, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe down below. Remember, the subscribe button is right on the corner of your screen, right-hand corner, so I made it very easy for you guys to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. And, of course, do not forget to turn on the notifications. This way you don't miss any of my uploads. Again, God bless. Good luck tonight for those who are playing. And your boy Manny is out.